Hi parents, I'm going to share with you some tools to help you talk to your child when they're upset. You will notice I've titled this How to Talk to Your Child, not what to say to your child when they're upset. And the reason for that is you're the best expert on the kind of things that your child is most likely to respond to or not respond to. So it's really important that you trust your own judgment in your parenting. And I certainly share lots of tips and ideas on my Facebook page at Positive Minds Australia that might be useful that you can then tailor for your family. But I really want to focus here over the next few minutes on exactly what it is about the way we communicate with our children when they're upset. So, of course, they're looking to us in that moment when they're overwhelmed with emotion, whether they're 2 or 17. In that moment of emotional overwhelm, it's a horrible feeling. And we know that ourselves from the times that we've felt really upset. So it's really important we remember that as difficult as it is for us, it is equally difficult for our child, for our toddlers, and for our teenagers. So in that moment of emotional overwhelm, they're really reliant on us to be the calm in the storm. And a previous clip to this looked at how we can take those deep breaths, slow ourselves down, count to 10 in our heads so that we make sure that whatever we say or do in those moments of chaos are as calm and constructive as they possibly can be. So the first step is always to calm ourselves and to find a way that works well. So usually breathing will switch your thinking back on. Talking to yourself in a kind way where you encourage yourself that you will get through this and that you love your child and that you're a great parent. So speaking to yourself with that kindness, perhaps taking a break if you need to, taking a sip of water, popping some music on the background, just do whatever it takes to have the best chance of being kind. And then let's really look at how we talk to our child in that moment because they are not very receptive. So sometimes you just have to be silent for a while and soothe them on that sensory level. Put a toy in their hand, or if they're older, something that smells good, something that's comforting. Respond to their senses. Show that you're calm and peaceful and safe for them to get through and navigate this moment with. So once you've had that space and you think they're able to listen and they're able to take some support from you, how you talk to them needs to be with a low voice. So consciously lowering your voice, quietening it down, getting closer to them is really soothing for them. So you can only do that if you're calm. If you're still stressed out of your brain, your voice is just going to be louder. So lower your voice, soften it, and also slow it down. So in those moments, our minds as parents are often rushing 100 miles an hour, worrying about whatever's going on. You've got to get out the door. You want them to cooperate. If you're in public, it's just so embarrassing if your child's losing it. So you're at this really fast pace, right? So what you need to do is slow that pace down in your mind and then slow it down in your voice. So speak at a slower, calmer pace, lower your voice, and help them understand what's happening. So very young children, emotions are really frightening for them. So in that moment, name what they're feeling, tell them, show them that you see that they're hurting. So you might say to a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, "You're so angry. I said no and you're angry." So you're giving a name to that feeling. And if you think they can cope, or if they're a little bit older, you might be able to then say, "It's okay to feel angry." And then if they're still receptive, you can add that boundary and say, "It's never okay to hit. It's okay to be angry." So you always start with empathy and labeling that feeling. For older children, 7 or 8-year-olds, you might want to let them know that you think you know what they're feeling, but that you're not the expert, because they need to know they're the expert at that age. So you might say, I can see you're having a really hard time, and I really want this to be okay for all of us. So you might not label the feeling, or you might. You know your child best. So experiment, see how they respond, keep tailoring it to your family. With an older teenager, usually whatever you say in that moment is likely to be wrong. So again, follow your gut, follow your intuition, have a conversation with that precious teenager who really needs you in their life, even though they might look like they're pushing you away. This is a time where they potentially need you more than ever. So talk to them, just say, how do I help you in those moments when you're really emotional and you're really overwhelmed and your brain has completely hijacked you? I love you and I really don't want us to end up in a screaming match. What's the best thing I can say or do to you in that moment? So have those conversations ongoing with your teenagers and preteens, so that this emotional dialogue of communication as a family is an ongoing thing. So labeling those feelings, showing that empathy, saying, I can see this is hard for you. I know you're having a tough time. So I'm going to give you some space. I'm going to give you some time, or I'm going to need to take some time myself, because I would hate to say something I regret later on. And as long as they know that you love them and you're there for them and you're just regulating your feelings, they will be understanding. So lower and slow your voice down, show empathy, label emotions, ask these precious words, how can I help, or can I help? Often children, when we least want to give them a hug, is when they most need a hug. Offering it with words sometimes just overwhelms them and floods them. So perhaps you could extend your hands out to show them you're here for them. Let them know you care, and know that this is all really for every family, an experiment of what the right balance is, but seeing it as a tool, seeing it as a method that you really want to get a handle of, is how you're going to talk to each other when you're not happy with each other, is a crucial emotional intelligence tool that our leadership as parents, we're gifting them with something that's going to help them as parents. It's going to help them in their friendships, their future adult relationships, and then of course when they're in their workplaces and in their communities. So they'll be so glad that we've invested in this tool. And it's really beneficial for us, because we'll go to bed each night without that guilt of the arguments and the disagreements that sometimes happen, that happen in all families, of course. So look after yourselves, parents, look after your well-being, so you're most likely to be as calm as possible, and look after each other. And thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please like it and drop some comments there. I would love to answer questions down the track, and see you next time. Thanks so much for listening.